Hello, and my name is Dominic. I'm an English teacher for A+ Education. Tell me, what is your name?
My name is Minh Phúc, but you can call me Alvin as well.
Alvin, that's a nice name. And tell me, Alvin, how old are you?
I'm currently a senior high school student, grade 12, and I'm 18.
18. Where do you live?
I live in Bình Thạnh district, quite near Landmark 81.
Okay. And tell me, who do you live with?
Currently, I'm still living with my parents since I still a student, but in the future, I think about moving out pretty soon.
Okay. Do you have a big family or a small family? How many people are in your family?
I would say it's a decent-sized family. I have one big brother who studies in Canada right now, and two parents, yeah.
Okay, great. Since your brother is in Canada, do you think it would be your dream to follow him?
It was my dream to go into Canada studying abroad as well, but it changed recently since we are currently struggling with financials, so I changed the plan to study here for a while.
Okay, great. Tell me, what do you like to do in your free time?
A hobby of mine is to read books. I really enjoy reading international books, especially with light novels. A book that I currently reading is called A Little Life. It's about 3 college students that live in New York, and it's quite fascinating to read it.
Okay, great. Do you play any sport?
At school, we have extracurricular activities, and I'm forced to play volleyball, although I do not really enjoy it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you had a choice of sport, what would you choose?
I guess my strength is badminton, since I played it when I was in grade 6 until now, so it's already 6 years. So yeah, that is one of my strengths.
Awesome. Tell me, since you're in grade 12, do you have any sort of vision as to where you would see yourself in the next 5 years?
I do have a visions, and I hope it's gonna come true. In the next 5 years, I expect myself to finish at least a degree in college, and I am trying to search for a scholarship and apply for it. And I'm still thinking about where I want to study abroad, because my brother is studying up in Canada, and I don't really want to rely too much on him. So I'm thinking about moving to Australia or Singapore.
Okay, great. And what is it that you would like to become?
My dream job is to be a writer, but currently I think it's not a really stable job right now. And so I think I'm taking artificial intelligence in college. Yeah.
Absolutely, and I think AI is quite a big thing at this moment. Everyone's talking AI. You're on Facebook, you see AI, and so forth. If I may ask you, since you're so passionate about writing, is there any particular author that really inspires you to put your thoughts in writing?
He is an Italian writer, Andrea Asimans. He wrote 2 books that really let the fire inside me, which is Call Me By Your Name and Find Me. It's a romantic stories between 2 people, and I just love how he captured all the scenes, how he describes, how he puts his thought perspective and his poetry inside it. It's not just a book, but it's rather like a collections of his loves, how he think about love. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I can hear you very passionate about this author and writing. And so I always say, don't lose sight of your dreams. Anything is possible, okay? So let's get started. Today we're going to follow the Cambridge IELTS Speaking Test. And in the test, there will be 3 parts. In the first part, I'm going to ask you some questions about international food. Okay. In the second part of the speaking test, I want you to describe a law that was introduced in your country, and I will go into more details later. And the third part, there would be some more questions about rules. Okay? So let's get started. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. Tell me, can you find food from many countries where you live?
Living in quite big cities, Ho Chi Minh City, there's a lot of multicultural populations here living. Like you can see a lot of foreigners living here, French, Italians. That is why I do see a lot of restaurants that offers a lot of international food, especially in Đảo üC, where a lot of foreigners located and habits there. Like one time, me and my friends was visiting like one of my friend's house, and we went around there, and there were like tons of international food, like pasta, sushis, which is one of my favorites, like, and also like a lot of international food that they have to offer. Yeah.
Great. And tell me, how often do you eat typical food from other countries?
I really love Korean food, especially like kimchi, because of how spicy it is and how it enhances the taste of the food. So in my fridge, there's always tons of kilograms of kimchi put inside a box and like a container, and I will always eat it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, always with kimchi. So like technically every day. Yeah.
Okay, it sounds like kimchi is your water, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, tell me, have you ever tried making food from another country?
As you can see, my passion with kimchi, I tried to make it 2 months ago with my mom's help, but it failed miserably. It tastes so bad that no one in my family can eat it, that we have to throw it away, which is just a waste. Yeah.
Okay, just a correction there. I noticed you said that no one in my family can eat it.
Could.
Okay, could, yes, absolutely. And that's good that you are able to recognize your own mistakes. Okay, sometimes when we speak, we don't always hear ourselves, but the moment I mentioned that, you were able to fix it quick. Okay, tell me, what food from your country would you recommend to people from other countries, and why?
A traditional food in Vietnam that I would recommend to all my foreigner friends is cơm tấm. It's basically broken rice with pork. Pork. And the reason why it's so special is that the sauce. I don't know why, but whenever I eat cơm tấm, the sauce is very important in the dish. Without it, it tastes like a bland, broken rice with meat like all the normal dishes. But when we put the sauce in, it's just so unique, and it just feels like a Vietnamese food.
Absolutely, it's like the magic to that dish.
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite dishes too. So good job, Alvin. We're now going to move into the second part of the speaking test. And I want you to describe a law that was introduced in your country and that you thought was a very good idea. I want you to say things like what that law was, who introduced it, when and why was it introduced, and explain why you thought this law was such a good idea. So maybe take a moment to think about it, and when you are ready, you can start speaking.
Okay, 1 minute. No. Let's try. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, my family used to show me about a law in 2020 about reductions in plastics, one-time use plastics in Vietnam. The reason why they implement these laws is because the government can observe the increase in the plastic waste, plastic pollutions. As a result, I think the ministries of environment implement this law in 2022 to reduce the plastic waste. And I think they are foreseen in 2050 that the amount of waste produced will reduce about 20 or 30%, which I hopefully will become true, since in a lot of places in Ho Chi Minh City, I could see a lot of trash and on the rivers, and it just really damaged the beauty of Ho Chi Minh City. Since without the trash, it's such a beautiful city, and I'm really proud about it. Yet it sometimes annoys me to see those plastics floating on the rivers. Yeah, and I feel like the laws is actually also not only protecting the environment, but also the living standard of the citizens here as well. Since all the citizens here are living in the same community, we should all protect the environment and make it our home rather than just destroying it.
Absolutely. And before I move on, there's one thing that you said, you're very proud of it. At that moment you were referring to Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah. Okay. And so instead of saying proud of it, because it sounds like something physical, okay, rather say, I'm very proud of my city, or I'm very proud of Ho Chi Minh City, or I'm very proud to be Vietnamese even, for that matter, you know. Because yes, I agree with you, it's a beautiful city. And so I want to ask you, do you think that there's maybe more that the government could do to enforce that law? Because as a foreigner, I do not see any hope of plastic reduction within the next 5 years, or let alone 10 years, because everywhere is plastic. You order banh mi, it comes in plastic. You order kum tum, it comes in plastic. You order from Grab, it comes in a plastic tub. Okay, and so do you think that government should be a bit more rigorous and enforce that law, or even go a step further and say we start incentivizing businesses to move to more eco-friendly options?
Well, I think that enforcing strictly could also reduce the plastic waste. However, it also increased the cost of productions, which might not be good, since you can see that the incomes of the people here might not be able to afford the food itself. Rather, like thinking about like if we use like paper or like a different type of plastic that could be degrade easier, it will cost more money. But thinking about the consequences in the future, the government can implement it more strictly. Rather than using one plastic bag, they can use encourage using of tote bag that for a replacement for plastic bags, or require the business to use a different type of plastics, even though it could increase the cost of production.
Absolutely. And again, why I mention this is because Vietnamese people are I feel very connected with nature. And I'm going to make an example like bang chung, for example. We cook it in banana leaves. And so what stops us from wrapping a banh mi in banana leaves instead of a plastic bag or a piece of paper with a rubber band? But yes, I think that's definitely a good law, and it will be good if it could become reality in the next few years. So I'm going to move into the last part of the speaking test, where I'm going to ask you a few questions about school rules and working in the legal profession. Okay? And so let's get started with that. What kinds of rules are common in a school?
For my school, a fun fact about me, I'm studying in a Filipino school, Filipino international school. A lot of my classmates are Filipinos. And a weird thing I found in my school when I moved in like 2 years ago is you have to submit your phones the moment you walk in, and you will get it returned when you walk out of the school. In public school, I don't see that a lot. I used to be in public school, in primary, and usually I just brought my phone to school without no one confiscating it. But when I moved here, it was quite new for me. And I don't know if it's common, but a lot of my foreigner friends as well, like in different international school, they also got confiscated their phone whenever they like walk into school. Yeah, and I feel like it's one of the common one.
Do you think that's a good rule?
I guess it's a good rule, since, as you can see, internet electronic device has two phases. If you use it correctly, it can help you for your education. But most of the students, they lack of the ability to control themselves, especially with like students in high school. They really enjoy using like applications like TikToks, Instagrams, and it can distract them from studying. So I think like not only it prevents students from distracting, but also reduce the possibility of cheating inside classrooms.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just a correction, you said prevents students from distracting. Okay, distracting means they are trying to distract someone or something. And distraction, yes, absolutely. So tell me, how important is it to have rules in a school?
I feel like rules and regulations are made to prevent bad things from happening. Having a set of rules created for students can, not only for students, but also for teachers, will enforce a healthy environment, not for studying, but also to connecting. Like a lot of rules are about bullying, cyberbullying, And those rules are for the mental well-being of the student. And I feel like they are there for reasons. Yeah.
Absolutely. Tell me, what do you recommend should happen if children break school rules?
From my school...
As a student,
yeah.
For students,
yeah.
Yes.
For what I've seen in my school, you will get detentions, 5 days if you break the school rule 3 times. And I feel like it's quite harsh in a way, since detention in Asians, I guess, is kind of a bigger problem compared to like Western countries, since Asians put a lot of pressure onto studying. And I feel like if, as a student, I would recommend schools rather than giving detentions, maybe talking with the teachers, since I feel like if they can explain their sides and the teacher explain the rules, they will get a better understanding why they did it wrong and they can change. Yeah.
And sorry, just to touch on that question, do you think that that would ultimately change behavior or bad behavior?
It still depends on a lot of factors, like does the student want to change or not? Not only the teacher have to support the student to change if they did something wrong, but also the parents and family has some major role in impacting the students.
Okay, just one correction. You said what the student wants to change. Okay, what the student wants to change. Okay, let's move on to the next part of these, where I'm going to ask you about working in the legal profession. Okay, and so I want you to tell me, can you suggest many students decide to study law at university?
I guess it's partially passion of them into laws. And I feel like my teacher used to study law. Yes, she dropped out middle of college and she told me a lot about laws and then how is it stressful. I feel like if they decided to choose that career path, pursue that career path, then it's just one of their decisions if they really have a passion for it.
Okay, great. And what are the key personal qualities needed to be a successful lawyer?
For what my teacher said, she said that it is really important to not get influenced by other factors, especially when it comes to cases that requires you dealing with a lot of wealthy peoples. They might bribe you or ask you to blame this person on this person. It is really important to have a moral values in terms of being a lawyer. Yeah.
Okay, great. In the beginning, I don't know, maybe I heard you wrong, but I think I heard you said from what my teacher said. Okay, said. Maybe you could say, as per my teacher, or if you want to leave the teacher part and just say, in my opinion, or from my understanding, okay, because your understanding means what you've heard or known from someone else, and then continue explaining. Tell me, do you agree that working in the legal profession is very stressful?
I guess all jobs has these difficulties, like workers has to work under a lot of the sun, and they are very stressed in terms of physical. But with lawyer, they are stressed in a different way, like with dealing with a lot of legal papers, and then they're not only dealing with papers, they have to also talk with the victims, and I guess it's quite a stressful place, with full of competitive lawyers, not to mention the opponents. If they are facing a quite successful lawyer, they might feel stressed from that case as well. Yeah.
Okay, just one thing I've noticed, you said legal papers. Okay, so there was a little bit of a repetition there, but otherwise, good job. Alvin, I think you did an amazing job, and we've now come to the end of the speaking test. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
A+ Education.